it.
Tell me what you know about ESFPs.
Every personality has a name. Their name is the performer. ESFPs are intensely grounded in the present. For example, they live in the exact here and now. However, are not at all grounded in reality. They really are not good at long-term planning. They tend to excel in some form of artistry, like music or theater or something like that. They are about 8 to 10% of the US population from a study done in, I think, 2000 from a book I was reading. And they are definitely more partiers of the social types. They belong to a hierarchy. If you didn't already know, the Myers-Briggs test has 16 different personality types. And what they belong to are the artisan personality types. They're the sensing perceivers. Mm-hmm. They're action-oriented and live in the moment, and they are very spontaneous. Many people complain about ESFPs being very superficial or shallow. They don't tend to value or talk about very intellectual things. Complex theories bore them. They don't like doing things involving theories. They love partying, generally have a lot of friends, but not necessarily one or two very close friends. Anything else you want to know about them specifically?
How do you think that relates to Johnny?
It relates to Johnny because it doesn't seem like Johnny plans in the future very far ahead. He seems to rely on what is immediately around him, and he deals in the there and now at that moment and doesn't really seem to care about anything else. It seems like he's talented in music, and it seems like he enjoys and gets a lot of joy from being in social situations and interacting with people. He doesn't necessarily seem to feel closer to one friend than another. He seems to have the general same amount of friends more friends than most people would have, but he doesn't seem particularly close. He seems about the same with them. They tend to also be a little more athletic, and so Johnny is more athletic, so in that regard, he is in that way an ESFP, and he is definitely an extrovert, and he definitely gets his energy from other people, so I think those are the ways that embody his ESFP identity. All the personalities, there are 4 groupings, and the NTs are the rationals, and what Johnny's is the sensing perceiving, which is the artisan. And so the shadow function is when your personality is essentially the opposite of the person that you're trying to interact, or your shadow personality is the exact opposite of how you generally act. So for an INTJ, their shadow personality is the SP, which is the sensing perceiving. And so, for example, a way to interact with a sensing perceiver is to talk about things that are immediately around them that would interest them. You wouldn't want to talk about things in the future necessarily. You would want to try to maybe talk more about art, something spontaneous, something an experience of some kind, something that ignites excitement in them. You need to be thinking about the opposite of what entertains you. For example, no complex theories. You probably shouldn't be talking about anything of your areas of expertise unless they somehow relate to something action-oriented. And also just understanding the difference between your intuitive thinking side as opposed to the sensing, perceiving side of him. The intuitive thinking side is really interested in these inner theories and logical ideas and abstract theories that come about. Physics, math, logic, all things that the intuitive thinkers generally tend to things that they can look inward towards and logically think about and come up with philosophies about. The sensor perceivers are not at all interested in that. They're relaxed, they're chill, they want to go with the flow, they just want to talk about whatever happens. That's the better way to interact with those shadow personalities of yourself, or even looking inward and trying to interact more with your shadow personality.